Yet again, Canada has failed to secure even a single spot on a list of the world's top 50 most innovative companies. Apple topped the list from Boston Consulting Group. That's a distinction it's held every year since 2005. Google rose one spot to number 2 on the strength of its ability to harness big data. Samsung bumped down to the number 3 slot. Microsoft's software dominance kept it at number 4, and IBM rounded out the top 5. Now, Canada's BlackBerry used to be on this list, but fell off back in 2010, and no other firm has taken its place since. Canadian executives appear to be putting a low priority on innovation. The survey shows just 22% rates of innovation as a top priority, down from 30 in 2013. Only 65% place innovation in a list of top 3 priorities. It was 78% in 2013. Meanwhile, 85% of respondents rank their innovation skills as average or worse. Just 4% rank themselves as strong or disruptive innovators. Executives plan to spend more on innovation. Those spending intentions, though, declined to 59% from 60% a year earlier. It's not just the Boston Consulting Group that's taking aim at Canada's innovation deficit, of course. The Conference Board of Canada has consistently given corporate Canada a failing grade for each of the past 7 years. The last word on this goes to Bruce Sellery. What is going on in Canada?
Don't you admire the candor?
No, I mean,
it's very nice for Canadian executives to be so apologetic about their weakness in the area.
It's brutal. One thing we know is we tend to overestimate our abilities. When I say we, I mean mostly you. But this is human nature. We tend to think we're better at things than we are. So if even corporate executives are saying we're kind of middling to average at innovation, that means they're really bad at innovation. And we know this matters.
It matters, but I think it matters less than you might think.
No, I don't think so.
Here's why. Look at the sectors of the economy that we participate in: services/financials, natural resources, and manufacturing. You can absolutely focus on manufacturing, but when it comes to natural resource extraction, it is not a business that is where innovation is core to the business.
Wrong.
Apple, you have no business if you do not innovate.
No, wrong.
Suncor, you have oil. It still comes out of the ground, even if you don't do it quicker or cheaper.
Oil at $90 versus oil at $75. There's innovation in your production extraction that makes all the difference. Meanwhile, they are innovating constantly in the oil sands because they know they need to reduce their carbon footprint, they need to reduce their cost footprint. So they are spending, but it's the only place that we're spending.
It is important, but it's not a necessity. Think about Apple. It is a necessity. There is no business in the absence of innovation. Think about Procter & Gamble. There is no business in the absence of innovation. Think about the sectors in which we compete in. By the way, I'm diagnosing a problem here. I'm not saying people shouldn't focus on it. I'm diagnosing a problem.
But I think you are falling into the trap, the giant Canada-sized trap that's keeping us from being as productive as we could be, which is to say, if you're not high-tech or consumer-facing, you don't need to innovate. And the fact of the matter is, this show needs to innovate. You need to innovate every single day. How do you drive to work? What's your route? Should it be different? Are you stuck in traffic?
Subway.
Maybe you should think about that. Everybody needs to innovate all the time.
Everything you say is proving my point.
I don't think so. Let's take a vote.
Necessity.
Al, do we have a vote on this?
Here's what I'm pointing out. When you look at the list of 50 companies, that list, it is a necessity. They have no choice but to do it. Whereas for the industries that we focus on,
then explain BlackBerry, which should have had no choice and yet chose not to innovate.
They didn't, and they're no longer on the list.
Right.
So my point is...
Canadian problem.
Could I get some sort of, could we shut off our mic for a moment?
No.
The point is, we need Canadian corporations to recognize it as a necessity.
Agreed.
And
we agree.
That just isn't the way it is in the businesses that we compete in. So if you think about retail banking, what was the last major innovation in Canadian retail banking? I will tell you. Coin counters in the branch.
No, that's
coin counters in the branch.
And inaccurate.
Photograph your check and that's it. So what
Banks
is
also
going
innovate constantly. They are consumer facing as much as Procter & Gamble. I think so. Now,
then why aren't they on the list? Why was there not one financial services company on that list?
Well,
not one.
It's a relative thing.
So really, what I'm saying is the call to action here for financial, I know you could, for financial services companies needs to be as crucial a part of the culture as it is in areas where it goes without saying.
So let's agree on that. I agree that where we are strong, and that is natural resources and financials, we need to innovate. Those businesses need to put it at the top of their priority. This whole business of we mean to spend more, but we're not going to, and by the way, we're not very good at it, no good. Having said that, we also in this country need a plan B. We talked at the top of the show about the fact that renewables are the way of the future. We are a heavy fossil fuel industry country. We need people innovating around products, services, technologies that will be the wave of the future.
agree. And
Where
one
are
of the
those
things
companies?
we do is we need to, for companies, need to introduce measures, because what we measure gets managed.
Yes.
If you don't measure, it doesn't get managed.
If it doesn't
so one
matter,
of the
it doesn't
things
matter.
that I loved was when they're talking about breakthrough innovators, that they look at the percentage sales for new products. So basically, you assume there's no legacy business. In the absence of a legacy business, where are we going to make money? And wouldn't it be amazing for Canadian CEOs, CTOs, CIOs to look at their business and say, there is no legacy. The only thing we've got in the next 5 years is what is the new products that we can create.
I agree, and that's where you get these groundbreaking agreements. For instance, broadcasters going over the top and making deals with Netflix and the likes. Those are groundbreaking. They fly in the face of management practice. They actually undermine your existing business and profit margins, so it's hard to do. But you're right. What I would suggest is we need to be thinking more about this at every single level. Where are our big tech champions? Where are our big, next generation companies in every industry, even if it's in renewables? We could still be a world leader in renewable energy and hedge our bets against fossil fuels.
Oh my gosh, we're actually agreeing. Shocking that is. The other point in this report that I really would love to flag is great innovators manage failure.
Absolutely.
Canadians aren't so great at doing that, and we have to become better at embracing and engaging in the power of failure.
Failure's okay.
Failure's okay. I was going to say something about this discussion, and then I thought,
Yeah.
I'm not going to call whether it was a success or a failure.